Good morning, everyone. Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services, together with Dave Pimper. Dave is the president of Lazarus Coaching. Today, we're going to talk about Social Security claiming strategies, and I want to get moving along here pretty quick. So I thank you all for joining us. It looks like we had a pretty large group, and you all joined us pretty early, so I appreciate that. A couple things that I want to bring to your attention. First, we are recording the event, so if you want to listen to it afterwards, you have the opportunity to get that to listen to the recording. There's some questions that come up along the way in the forms of polls, generally yes and no answers. We appreciate your quick show of interest or lack of interest in those, yes or no. We appreciate that very much. Quicker the better. If you have questions during the course of the event, if you would, just type them in and hit send, and we'll get them asked and answered of the entire group. Now that we've got the kind of the housekeeping details out of the way, a couple things that I think are important to note here. We're going to talk about Social Security claiming, and this is kind of two-stage. Dave is going to talk about Social Security claiming. He's also going to talk about how you can use seminars to gain credibility and access to exactly the age group that we want to be working with. So always very good. We've had a lot of luck with Social Security claiming seminars. In fact, I would say of the 7 or 8 seminar systems that we currently work with or have worked with over the last 5 or 7 years, I don't know that we've had better regular success with any one of them. And a lot of that is attributable to Dave's Dave's good work, and not just in getting the seminars in place, but also helping our guys and gals with some of the transitioning language. So in terms of actually gaining business from the Social Security claiming seminar. So a lot of good stuff here we have on tap for you today. Let me say thank you all for taking some time out of your busy schedules to join us today. We appreciate that very much. We appreciate your attention during the course of the event. And with that, why don't we go ahead and get started here. So a couple things that I wanted to make sure that you're all aware of as we get started. We've got a couple ways that we help our producers, folks that do business with us on a regular basis, kind of finance their business and grow their marketing. One is our marketing reimbursement program. Pretty simple program. When you do business with us, we put money into your account. When you send us receipts, then we match your spend dollar for dollar. We have a special going on right now, so that money spent for very direct marketing things like mailers for seminars, mailers, return mailers that you then follow up with calls and things like that, things that directly generate leads. We are doubling up on that marketing reimbursement. So a very good program, and that will go on through the end of this year. You see the referred producer program, probably the only program that we send out as much money or nearly as much money on a marketing reimbursement is the referred producer program. We're pretty proud of that, and the reason is because what we're doing is compensating folks for referrals, and I really don't believe that a lot of the referrals that we get, people give us in order to take advantage of the RPM program, although it can be very lucrative and has been for some. But I think it really is based on kind of their feeling that the folks that they know who they have some concern and some interest in their success, they think that IAMS is a great fit for them, because I think a lot of it has to do with training like this. We do a lot of face-to-face training. We do some great marketing stuff. We've got obviously a good product line like a lot of our competitors. And then I think really in the end it comes down to the service levels that we have. You all know that when you call here, you're going to get a live person answering the phone, and we're going to answer that phone within just a couple rings and get you taken care of. So in today's age of voicemail and email and getting back to you 2 and 3 and 4 days later, IAMS has certainly set a different standard there, and I think a lot of folks appreciate that, and that probably is why they're so kind to give us those referrals. All that being said, when you give us your referral, they do business, we pay you a bonus. It does not come out of their pocket. It simply comes out of our advertising budget, where we pay a bonus to you based on their business. So if they, for instance, you had a producer that wrote a couple million with us, or in this case, let's say 3 million, you're going to get 6,000 of cash, and that goes on for as long as they're appointed with us. So hopefully you'll take advantage of that program if you have not already. Just looking at the folks attending here today, I know that many of you have and know how that program works. We certainly appreciate your referrals. One of the programs that your referrals would be eligible for, and I see we've got some folks on here today that have not yet made the decision to do business with IAMS. So we have a new producer builder program where when you do business with us during your first 180 days, you get to choose from 3 levels. And I will call your attention to the second level, the 300,000 point level. those levels, by the way, are directly correlated with annuity premium. So if you do 300,000 annuity premium with us, for instance, then we can get you the Social Security program and a 3,000 piece mailing. We also, at the 500,000 level, will do Dave's full Social Security program with coaching as well. And I think that's obviously the better option of those two. I'm a big believer, and we'll talk more about this later, that in order to be truly as successful as you can be in the seminar business, you need that one-on-one coaching. We'll talk more about that, but I really appreciate the value of the coaching, what that kind of daily or weekly mentoring through the process can do for producers. And so I hope that at the $500,000 level, if you take advantage of that, you'll see that we'll do your mailing, we'll buy your program, and we'll get you coaching as well. Very, very great deal and very great way to break into the seminar business if you haven't already done so. I mentioned our service standards and service levels. This gives you some idea of some of the things that we do. We should have our 3-ring guarantee logo on this because I think it all starts with that. Everybody wants to know that, hey, if I'm sitting in a client's house and I've got a question or something comes up, or if I'm sitting trying to make a decision on what product to use, I can make a phone call and they're not going to have to sit and wait on hold or wait for somebody to call me back on voicemail. You're going to get a live answer. We're going to get you to somebody that can help you with exactly what you need. And until you feel that and until you need it, it isn't really going to make the impression of value that I really think it has. And so the reason that I know that is, like, if I talk to somebody that's been with us for a couple months, 3-4 months, they recognize that, but they don't value it. But when I talk to our top producers who come to our, sales symposium every year or two, I ask them what's the main reason that they do business with IAMS, and we do a lot of great things, but it always comes back to, hey, if I call, I'm going to get an answer, and that can be important. That can be the difference between making a sale and not making a sale. That's what it's all about. If you have that kind of support, you can see some of the other things that we do there for you. A quick turnaround on your proposals. We're going to follow your case from submission to commission, and we're on that case for you daily. So I have talked with some folks that have had less service at other organizations, and you can really tell the difference. You don't have to have your secretary. You don't have to have yourself calling the company every other day and saying, what's going on in my case? We're gonna do that for you. We're going to send you an email. If there's something that is time sensitive, we're going to call you right away. You get to where you value that pretty highly. So all that stuff is very important. You've noticed the difference over time for sure. If you haven't taken advantage of our creative team, you should. And here's how I basically couch this, is that you should be doing much of what you see on this page in order to get your business and grow your brand. And the question that you have to ask yourself, and you can go out to an ad agency that can do some of this stuff for you, and then you have to walk them through and tell them, what do I need, or, how do I want it to look? Or you can work with a firm like IAMS, that we've got that in-house, and we've done it for hundreds of producers just like you already, whether it's your letterhead, your logo, your website, your anything that you brochures that you might want to send out, or if you're looking to do some email marketing or Facebook marketing, we can help you with all that. We already know what works and what doesn't work. So, why don't make yourself a guinea pig, by trying to do a lot of that stuff yourself. We've got people in-house that do it every day, and frankly, they're going to do it for no cost or as cheap as it can be done, because what we're interested in here at IAMS is growing your business and helping you grow your business and being rewarded for helping you grow your business with ongoing business and loyalty. That's what it's all about, really. If you haven't looked at the website lately, we've got a lot of great stuff out on our website. One thing that I would call your attention to very specifically that's new on our website is under our support tab. So go to the website at www.iamsinc.com and go over to the support tab, and you'll find in the support tab a tab under there called the Sales Resource Library. There's hundreds of client presentations, hundreds of fact finders, hundreds of one-pagers that you can send to your client just with a click of a few buttons, and it's all available on the website. To anyone that has access to our website is going to have access to that. If you haven't looked at the Sales Resource Library lately or looked at the website lately, I encourage you to take a new look, because we refreshed that about a month ago and added some nice new stuff on there. So take a look and take a special look at the Sales Resource Library. Retirement Analyzer is a software program that we make available to anyone that is part of the IAMS family, and we take care of the cost of that. And if you've looked at the Retirement Analyzer program and you've tried to look at the pricing on it, you know that you're going to spend probably about $70 to $80 a month to have access to that. We're going to give you that access and let you look at that for free. Besides that, and the tools that you have through the Thomas Gold Associates who built that program, you also have access to Marcus Soller, who uses that program every day and can help walk you through the clients that work with that. So if you're not getting that type of support from your current FMO or IMO, if you don't have an IMO that you're comfortable with working with, we do some great stuff here in the Retirement Analyzer. It's just one of those things that can help you with the client. Basically what it does is help you work with a client. You got to put a lot of information in, but you get some great information out that can show your client where their shortfalls might be in their retirement. And you and I and everyone on the line here knows that, that most folks don't have a really good idea of how the assets that they have and the provisions they've made there for their retirement are actually going to work for them in retirement in conjunction with things like Social Security and their pension and 401k and other sources of funds that they have. The Retirement Analyzer, by the time you get a picture of your client in, what you get back out is a very systematic way for you to show them, hey, this is where you're good, this is where you're not good, here's where your thinking is right, here's where you might have to readjust your thinking. You may be set up in a way that in terms of your risk tolerance where you're notably off from there, and here's how we can address that issue, and hey, you need some guaranteed income, and here's how we can address that issue. That's what the Retirement Analyzer does. If you've never used that program or a program like that, I encourage you to call Marcus here at our office and have that discussion with him. IAMS Wealth Management, it's a RIA that we launched here at IAMS. Very proud of what we've accomplished in a relatively short time. It's a huge business undertaking for us. It has been a huge business change for a number of the folks that have decided to become IARs. What we found is the IARs that have been doing business in that RIA space for a while, what we found is that our fee structure is very competitive. Our payout structure is very competitive, and our service levels, that what we offer in terms of services, are very high compared to what they're used to. So if you are currently an IAR associated with another RA, maybe not happy with the results you're seeing there in terms of the service that they provide and what they can get for you, and what the kind of the technology platform that you get as part of your RIA services or IAR services, give us a call. Give Charles Hiring here in our office a call and let him walk you through what we do there. It does not hurt to compare from time to time, and what we have found in general is that the comparisons work very much in our favor. So I would love to have you answer yes to this poll that's going to come up here. If you have any interest in becoming an IAR, getting your Series 65, and you need some assistance with that, mark yes on this poll, and we will get you out a package that helps you understand the kind of the process of doing that, the expense of doing that, and how we can help you with that expense. If you are already an IAR and you're working with an RIA that maybe you're not as pleased with as you could be, and you want to hear, what else might be available out there, again, hit yes on that poll, and we'll send you a quick email that has a couple of pieces that you could easily compare, kind of the fee structure and the payout structure and the technology platforms. For instance, most RIAs don't make available to you your own website. That's part of our base technology platform. So you get that as part of being a part of IAMS Wealth Management. The database systems that you need to be really effective, you get that as part of being in the IAMS Wealth Management system. So there's a lot of great things that we do for you. If that is of interest at all, hit yes. If maybe that's not something you want to do, I believe that within the next 2 to 3 years, if not sooner than that, it's almost going to be required that if you're going to work with folks in the retirement marketplace, that 55 to 60 older group, if you're going to be selling indexed annuities, I think that it will be a very large, almost insurmountable advantage you'll have over your counterparts, that you have the ability to have a Series 65. I'm not sure that it will be required, but I think the advantages will be so great that you will, if you're going to, be in that market going forward, I think you're going to want to have that. So if you haven't considered it, probably a good idea to kind of get ahead of that tidal wave of regulation that I think is almost inevitable. We all know that the DOL has seen some delay, but if we're thinking that delay is going to lead to a change in thinking, I think we're at the regulatory level, I think we're mistaken. I think in the end, whether it comes from the SEC or the DOL, I think there's going to be some requirement, fiduciary requirement, and some record-keeping requirements, and probably some licensure requirements that are coming down the pike. And it's not a matter of if, but when. Guys might well get ahead of it. Let's don't be reactive, be proactive. I see that we've had pretty good response to that. If you were unable to respond for some reason and you have some interest, give us a call here at the office, 800-255-5055. I'll shoot you out a chat message here with that number in just a second, and we'll put you in touch with that team over there. I'm going to close that poll out. Thank you all for voting so quickly, by the way. Life and Annuity Academy. So we're pretty much, I don't know that we could get you into this year's final Life and Annuity Academy. We do 3 to 4 of them a year. The last one coming up this year is early November. But if you do have interest in joining us at a Life and Annuity Academy, we'll see if we could potentially get you squeezed in yet this year. But if that doesn't work, you might as well get yourself in the system for next year. So if you have not heard of the Life and Annuity Academy, you must be living under a rock because they have been very popular. We've been doing them now for 12 years. We take care of expenses associated with it, which I think is part of the reason that people know that we've got skin in the game, because we know that what you're going to get back out of that is going to be highly valuable to you and is going to draw you closer to understanding what IAMS can do for you. So we're willing to put that skin in the game. What we're asking you to do is put your time in there, and we're going to put you in front of 4 top producers that are going to show you some methods and some means that they have grown their businesses and their success levels over the past 8 or 10 years. That's probably, in my opinion, the cornerstone of our Life and Annuity Academy. But we're also going to help you with better understandings of products. We're going to help you with some very specific marketing and sales ideas and tools that you can use to help grow your business. I'm going to give you the opportunity to share ideas with folks like yourself. Everybody that comes to these meetings, annuities, indexed annuities, life insurance, that's what they do primarily. We're seeing a lot more guys that are kind of in the wealth management business as part of their normal practice that come into these as well. So it's a great opportunity to share ideas, which we give opportunity for among your peers. If you're not keeping up with what's going on in the industry and don't have a pretty good idea of the things that might be notably affecting your business over the next year or two, you need to get into the Life and Annuity Academy, because we do a pretty good job. 2-3 years ago, we were talking heavily about the need to be a fiduciary and how important that was going to be and how that could affect your business. I don't know. No one knows what the future holds exactly, but you need to know. I mean, you've got a business that's generating your lifestyle, and you need to have an idea of what's coming down the track and need to be prepared for it. And you need to have a professional attitude towards that. A lot of what we do at the Academy is really, kind of professional to professional, business to business information that you need to know. So it's a great opportunity, really, from a social standpoint, to kind of help build a little web of folks that you work with and can kind of count on for assistance and guidance along the way. So Life and Annuity Academy has gained a lot of notoriety in the industry for good reason. We'd love to have you join us. Like I said, getting you in yet for the one this year is going to be pretty hard. We've got one coming up early November. But if you have interest in immediate interest, we'll certainly give it a shot. But we'll have 4 next year. Usually do the first one in February, and then try and do the other 3 here when the weather is agreeable or potentially agreeable. So we'll go February, usually one in March or April, one in midsummer, and then one in fall and late fall. So if you have interest, we'll send you the registration packet. It gets you in the in the queue, and look forward to working with you on the Life and Annuity Academy for sure. I'm going to close that poll because, thank you, we all have really quick voters there. I know that there are some of you that are just listening and not able to vote on the polls again. I'll send you a note after the event with our 800 number. Give us a call here at the office, 800-255-5055. If you were unable to vote on the poll and you want that registration packet sent out, we'll be glad to do that. Okay, Marketing Summit. We're coming to the close of qualification. The closes out at the end of December. Still plenty of time to get some business in. The qualification number is easy enough to hit, and we do invite some folks that are fast starters as well. So if you're just thinking about joining IAMS and you do some good business, it wouldn't be at all surprised to see you get an invitation to the Boulders, because it is a marketing summit as well as a nice social event. We give you plenty of time to spend some time with your spouse in a great area. The Boulders is a great resort, a great spa, great golf, a lot to see around that area of the country as well, if those are of not interest to you. So we'd love to have you join us at the Boulders. If you have interest and maybe you want to learn more about that, give me a call here at the office, and I'll be glad to give you a little bit more information on that as well. Okay, so now let's take a minute and talk about Social Security claiming strategies. And I want to toot Dave's horn for just a moment. Dave is probably up to somewhere in the area of about 500 seminars offered during the course of his practice from the early 80s. He's been with us for about 12 years now, qualified for every one of our marketing summits over the years. He's been kind enough over the last 9 or 10 years to do business coaching for us. And when we talked about Social Security claiming about 3 or 4 years ago, he knew that was an area where he could really help some folks, because he'd come across some of the challenges of it and found ways to surmount those challenges and turn them into successes. And some of the main things that, we know a lot of folks that have done Social Security claiming seminars and have struggled then to gain business from that, and that transitioning. Dave has surmounted those challenges and helped our guys and gals get across the bridge on that. And so we'll talk about a little bit about that today. Always been a great understander of how important the front end of a seminar is, but also how important what you say in a seminar, how you set it up, how you get folks at appointment, how you get folks from the first appointment to the second appointment. And that's really what it's all about, is making you more efficient at every stage. And Dave has been really good at that. So great partner to have, been a great benefit to a lot of our producers at all levels. And so very happy to have Dave on this morning to talk about Social Security claiming strategies and seminars. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Dave Pimper.
Yeah, thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate it a lot. My name is Dave Pimper, and I'm a producer, just like probably nearly everyone of the tons of people. This is we got a lot of folks this morning from all over the U.S. as I look through and see where everyone's from. Been in the business since 1981, so I'm kind of a lifer. I was graduated in 77, so you figure that out from college. I'm 62 years old, and like what I do, have an independent shop that I've had truly with the exception of about 4 years that I've been strictly independent. And I do about 75 to 80% of my business from the security side, and then 20 or 25% of my business from the fixed index side. I do a little bit of single premium life, but really I use it for an alternative to a bond or to a guarantee like a CD or a treasury bond or savings bond. Getting in front of people, it's tough these days. And it was tough 30 years ago or 35 years ago when I started in 1981. There has to be some kind of a system that you do. Now, if you're fortunate enough to get enough referrals coming in by either asking or you're just that good that referrals are kind of knocking your door down, then you're kind of the exception. Most people need some kind of a marketing plan. In the old days, it might have been cold calling. I mean, we just cold called. I remember on Tuesday and Thursday nights, we would bring our group down. We had 4 or 5 of us within our group, and I owned the independent office, and we'd be making calls, and we'd call right from the phone directory. Well, it's illegal to do that today. It's funny about cold calling. I mean, I always laugh when I'm talking in front of groups, and I say that God created the cold call just to punish the salesperson. I mean, it's a hard business. But I'll tell you what happens is there's a lot of ways to market your practice. So don't think, though we're talking about seminars today, and that certainly has been a mainstay for me through the last 30 plus years of my career. There are many other ways to market besides seminars. But do I think that seminars are still extremely effective and in my mind still is the very best way to get in front of a new prospect? I absolutely think it is. You give 1 hour presentation to 20 or 30 people. I just talked with Steve, who was with Ed up in the Northeast today. Bruce and Ed were there, and he just mailed out to a Social Security workshop, and we hope to get 40 people between the 2 nights. If we mail out 6,000 pieces, we hope to get about 0.7%. There's no meal involved in the seminar, but he got much more than that. In fact, we hope for always 10 appointments. He got 10 appointments on last week on his first workshop, and he got, I think, 13 appointments yesterday.
Great results.
I mean, unbelievable. Now, that has to turn into appointments, that has to turn into meetings, has to turn into money. But there's just no way in our business that you get in front of, if you get in front of 10 people, brand new people, you're going to do business from 1 to 3 of them. If you get in front of 20, you're going to be doing business with a minimum of 2 or 3, maybe as many as 5 or 6. And so he was just called. He's very, very excited. And what happens is Social Security claiming, it's confusing to people. It's confusing to people. One of the greatest entities, government entities that help us is the Social Security Administration. Have you ever been into one of the shops? I mean, I think they really do try, but it's like Baskin Robbins on steroids. I mean, you pick a number, and then you just wait and wait and wait, and there's just a ton of people in those offices, and it's just very. It doesn't seem very efficient. And what's interesting enough is Social Security Administration employees, by their handbook, cannot give advice about Social Security claiming. They can tell you what your best strategy is right now, but they cannot do scenario planning for you, like restricted application or down the row of how a survivor's benefit would benefit you to delay your benefit. No, they don't do that. They give you your best benefit right now. And that may be in a lot of misconceptions out there. There's nearly 50% of the people, I think it's 43%, they take at the age of 62. Yeah. Now, and there's some reasons to do that. I mean, if you're in poor health, if you've got bad DNA, if you just need the money, you're broke, you have no job, that's the way to get income in. Sure, there's reasons why, but because of ignorance is not a reason why to take at 62. Ignorance of the system's going broke, I better take my money now, I may not be there later. Or ignorance, hey, I always say it's some of the worst water cooler talk there is. Hey, Frank, I took it at 62 and you should too. I always say that's like saying, hey, I like broccoli and you should too. I like the color orange and you should too. Those are very, very personal preferences. And that's the way Social Security is. It's one of the reasons that we do not take questions at Social Security seminars. The 2 reasons are we want to keep it on time for an hour presentation. Secondly, most of the questions are very they're very directed towards one specific view for that person asking. And lastly, if we give out too much information, it probably reduces the amount of people that want to sign up for a consultation to come in and see us. So in my past 460 plus seminars, Steve said 500, I'm like 36 shy of that. But going on 500 seminars, I've learned a lot of things about seminar marketing. So there are other FMOs like IAMs that are out there that are good at what they do, but from a seminar standpoint of actually having a coach, not a mentor, hey, come watch me and then do the same thing I do, but actually coaching you through it, coaching your type of personality, we've got a track that works. Perfect? Of course not, but it does work. And I always say you might hit some rumble strips, you might even get into the far shoulder, but we're going to keep you out of the ditch. We're not going to have you crash down there. And we have a system that has worked for a lot of different people. And I do other seminars besides Social Security, but it does seem like Social Security really hits a chord with people. Now, I'm going to just bring this up because it just happened yesterday. IAMS, which employs about 40 folks, been in business for 31 years, Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Steve, who is our host from IAMS, is the co-owner, been there 23 or 24 years. Charles Hiring started the business. He's also day-to-day and owns the other 50%. But you know what? I have an appointment late in the afternoon, and it's about 6:30, and Steve was there, and she had a question about one of the carriers that I was using because she had not heard of it, and she was putting $100,000. It actually was $200,000. $100 went into fixed index. Steve came in, helped give her some good information, and she felt comfortable, and so we did that. But this is a perfect situation. This was a single lady, and she comes on in from the Social Security, and all of her information was on Social Security. But as we started going through the 5 pillars of income, wages, pensions, investable assets, RMDs, and then how Social Security how that complements those other 4 income streams, we open up all of her investments. And at that time, I find out that she's got a CD that is earning a very poor, just over 1%, and she hadn't put it in for too long, so she lost the interest if she takes it out, but it was just hundreds of dollars on $75,000. She could add some money to that. She had a traditional IRA that she has no Roth at this standpoint, so we're going to convert that into a Roth, and then we find out she has an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan on her 401k. She has $218,000. She's open to free up $100,000 of that. So all of a sudden, we wrote the business yesterday for $200,000, and that $200,000, I'll tell you right now, with just the fixed indexed, that's $6,500 from gross. I'm helping her out by getting an anchor of guarantees, and then there's another $100,000. So it ends up to be an $8,000 to $10,000 piece of business. And you got to remember that entire workshop, not counting elbow grease and time, cost me about $3,300 or $3,400. So what happens is that from just that, I tripled my money, and I have 2 other really good leads. One's for $350,000, and then one's for $175,000 that I'm also working on. I'm sure I'll get one of those, but my goal is to get $250,000 to $300,000 of assets that I'm working with, whether it be fixed index or from a securities or advisory side. It just works very, very well. People need information on when to claim. So I wanted to go through a lot of information early. Now, from here on out for the next 20, 25 minutes, I am going to go through this pretty quickly. If you have a question, just type it on in. We got oodles of folks with us this morning. Type it on in, and I will certainly answer those questions after we're done, okay? So, Steve, if you're there, I wonder if I have do I have the controls, or are you going to do those, Steve?
I think you've got them. Try and move it, and we'll see.
I got them?
Yep.
Okay, I am trying, so I think I talked so long on that first slide, the slide forgot about me.
I'll move it, and I'll switch it over.
Okay, maybe I can get it going after that. Thank you. Okay, so here we go, baby boomers. Yeah. Well, what are the ages of baby boomers? Born from 1946 to 1964. I was born in 55. I'm right in the middle. But this is really who we're mailing to. We're mailing to the baby boomers, especially the older baby boomers. Those are the ones you really don't start thinking about Social Security, I would say, until you're 55, 56, 57 years of age. Okay? Now, so when we're mailing out, we mail out to the demographics of 58 to 67. And why do people come to a educational workshop like this? Well, first of all, there's no product being pushed whatsoever. We don't mention one thing about mutual funds or annuities or stocks or bonds or real estate. We don't. And the reason for that is the seminar is set up to get the appointment. It's not set up to close business. Human beings close business on a one-on-one across the kitchen table or at your office across from your desk. But people are coming in because they don't have those answers of when to apply, at what age to apply, coordinating with the spouse. They heard that there was some new Social Security laws, the 2015 Bipartisan Budget Act. Yeah, what happens is they know that something maybe happened there. They read something about it in the local paper. Social Security is set up pretty simply. There's 3 dates that are important, or ages. Age 62, the earliest you can take. Age 70, the latest you can take or want to start taking, or you lose that benefit until you start taking. And then full retirement age. And that ranges from the age of 66 to the latest could be 67. A child born, a little baby born today at the local hospital, their full retirement age is 67. But what happens is, if you take early, you get the benefit earlier, it's just reduced. If you wait later, it's a bigger benefit, but you haven't taken the benefit yet. So what happens is that they want to know how, just in general, how does Social Security work? You know, how the survivor or divorced, all of those things is a reason that people are coming on in and trying to find out more about Social Security. And so when they get this invitation in the mail, and we do it, now we went from an 8.5 by 11 to a 17.5 by 17.5 by 8.5. It's a much bigger piece. We're having extremely good results with that. We have you're seeing more and more articles like this, Popular Social Security NICS, which was filed suspend and restricted, are phasing out. Now, seminars in general, yeah, we have no meal. Now, I'm not against meals, but with Social Security, you don't have to have a meal per se. It's informative to people, much more educational in nature than a dinner seminar. We have them in libraries, have them in college rooms, have museums, somewhere educational. I always say the prospects need us more than we need them. Is that really true? Probably not, but they'll hound you down. They'll find you to get that free report, that customized report that we offer. And we use an outside source for that, Horse's Mouth. There's a cost. For a year's time, it costs $500, but you've got the seminar PowerPoint is there. I've made some changes to that to make it a little more user-friendly for us, but there also is there are also most systems you'll pay $500 to $1,000 to do the reports, and that's all part of that $512 that Horse's Mouth has within the year's time. The transitioning from Social Security to actually working with a specific type of product, financial product, it's a fine line there. It's a fine line. I mean, we certainly do not want this to bait and switch, because that, of course, would be illegal. Well, we want to show how Social Security complements the other sources of income you have. Because remember, wages, if you've earned $50,000 and you've been with the company for 50 years or 30 years, you're not going to make, in 3 or 4 years, you're not going to make $100,000 or $90,000. No. Pensions, they're pretty well set in by the time that you've got most of your years in. But Social Security, I tell you, if you wait 4 years to take Social Security, depending on what inflation is, that benefit raises 40 to 50%. So if you've got for example, if you've got a pretty high benefit, a $2,500 benefit, and you're 66 and going to 67, you're guaranteed 8% if you don't take that benefit, 8% a year plus inflation. Inflation is going to be a couple percent this year. It's averaged more than that over the last 50 years, or since 1975 when it started for inflation COLAs. But you know what? If it goes up 10%, 8% guaranteed, 2% for inflation, that $2,500 each year grows $250 for income for life. You delay 1 year, it grows to $50. You delay 2 years, it grows to $500. $500 a month. That's a lot. That's a heck of a lot. That's $6,000 a year more. If you wait 4 years, it grows $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year more. That's a big time pension, working $1,000 for working for 15, 20 years. You're doing it in 4. That's what you're getting across people. So am I trying to encourage them to delay? I want to give them the option. I want to make sure they know the information. I want to make sure that they are not, when I say ignorant, it makes it sound like I think they're stupid. They're not. I'll tell you what, doctors, lawyers, engineers, scientists. Those left brain type of folks are so smart in their trade, but they can really not have much of a clue when it comes to something like this. And so we're giving options. Everyone wants to have an option. And you know what? By the time that you're done coaching with me, and I'm not pounding my chest, but most people, most advisors, only 15% of advisors could go in right now and do a seminar and understand the strategies. When we're done with 5 weeks of coaching, it's about 45 minutes a session. You've read a couple, 3 or 4 books. It's going to take you, I'd say there's about 10 hours of reading a week for a couple, 4 or 5 weeks. But you know what? All of a sudden, you become the expert, having the expertise to do Social Security claiming. And more people are asking about that. So we always do the coaching with a seminar, because all the information in the world and analytical information in the world doesn't bring you in prospects, but seminar marketing does. And you work that with Social Security, the inside of that education is pretty powerful. Powerful. But we do a good job of going in and transitioning that, okay? So will it be there for me? Well, if I asked you right now, did the Social Security run a deficit or a surplus last year? Deficit meaning we paid out more money than we brought in. Most people would say we ran a deficit. But that's not the case. We ran a surplus of $35 billion. Interesting. We have not run, in Social Security, we have not run a deficit since 1983. That's when they started taxation on Social Security if you were at a certain pay range or a certain income range. So full retirement, FRA, they love acronyms in Social Security Administration. FRA, full retirement age, heard it called normal retirement age. If you're born from 43 to 54, it's age 66. Goes up 2 months, like I'm 50, I was born in 55, April, 66 years and 2 months. Up to 1960, 67. So most everyone to your workshop, are you either 66 full retirement age or 62 46? You have a few that are 67 or over, but not that many because we're not mailing to that. If you take early, it gets reduced. If you take 4 years early, it gets reduced by 25%. Your $1,000 benefit at full retirement age 66 is reduced, and you're only going to get $750. So for a single person, you can figure it out dollar by dollar. And if you're not investing the money, which most people don't, that they receive, they spend the money, then what happens is you've got to live to 79 or 80 years of age. Okay? So is it wrong to take early? Not a bit. But most people don't know of what the value of the option if they wait. Get a load of this. At the age of 66, all of a sudden, this is called a delayed retirement credit, a DRC. If you take it early, it's called an actuarial reduction, an AR. But this is a DRC, delayed retirement credit. You're guaranteed for your money to grow 8%. And then if there is inflation, fine. There's only been 3 years there hasn't been inflation since they started in 1975 with COLAs. 2010, 2011, and 2016. Now, last year or this year right now, we're only 0.3%, so it almost is 4 years. But inflation has averaged well over 3% in the last 50 years, and the last 8 years has averaged under 2%. But you know what? It's a big deal, 8%. Where could you get a guaranteed 8% income on a government-guaranteed investment? You cannot. We're not talking about an income stream from an income rider that you pay for. We're talking about guaranteed. That has a divorce benefit, a survivor benefit, spousal benefit, child benefit, disability benefit. No. There's not a commercial annuity that can touch this with COLAs. So it goes up. You're guaranteed it goes up 32%. You add on 2% a year for inflation, or 2.5%, it goes up another 10. That's 42%. If you have higher inflation, in some years it could actually go up to 45 or 50% in those 4 years. But I'll tell you what, if you think you're going to live, up in age, if you took it 70 for 10 years, I mean, here's a bizarre thing too. Only 3% of Americans wait till the age of 70. And who's going to be one of them? Me. I am. Darn right I am. First of all, I'll be working that long. I like production. I enjoy what I do. I like coaching. I own my own company. I got some flexibility. But you know what happens is, I don't have to worry. If not, even if I retire now, I would just take from my savings and let that Social Security go. I mean, I got longevity in my family. My dad died at 82, so that was average, or maybe a little above average. My mom's 94. She's still living. She's still driving. She just had a knee replacement last year. She has a boyfriend. They take trips. What a life. My 94-year-old mother. People are living longer than they ever had. Okay? So it's very well, could be worthwhile to delay those. Now, I know I'm going to go through this quickly. If you're coaching with me, you get, after every coaching session that we have, then I shoot out to you information. Normally articles. I'll show you that we give all of the letters we mail out. But this is to make a successful seminar. There is work involved. Don't think, hey, I'll just coach with Dave Pimper. You certainly are going to learn about Social Security. Now, if you don't read the books, you're going to learn about Social Security, but not like you could. If you go back to school for about 3-4 hours, well, I'll go back on this. If you go back to school and you put in 3, 4, 5 hours a week of reading, and you do it for 3-4 weeks, it'll certainly complement of what we do. But just having Social Security, having that go-to person kind of in your community of Social Security, not having to refer it out, that you can control that, it's a big deal. It's a big, big deal. I just had a gal that came to me, and she didn't have really any interest of moving her money with me because she has an advisor. And I asked her, just for this last workshop, I said, you know what? How come you're not asking your advisor those Social Security questions? She was a little uncomfortable. She says, well, I did, but he doesn't know Social Security. And I said, you know what? And I am more than happy, and there's no obligation. But you know what? And she has some money coming due. I said, when that money comes due, she has a 401k because she's going to completely retire, and there's like $300,000. I said, can you let me just give you some ideas? I think you'll be impressed of a little different way that we handle our money. And I did tell her, especially from the guaranteed side. She said, okay, yeah, I will. Now, I may not get that. I probably won't. But because I know Social Security, I'm talking to her. And that's the name of the game. Okay. If you have any questions, type them on in. Now, when we go through this, I'm not expecting you to understand every single thing we're talking about. You know what? When we're coaching, the nice thing is I go slower, more in depth. The whys and hows and whens when I'm talking about Social Security claiming. But let's talk about spousal benefit first. In just simplistic terms, John's, and PIA stands for primary insurance amount. That's your amount at full retirement age. So we say PIA at FRA. His is 2,066, and we're saying 66 is full retirement age for the simplicity's sake. Jane, his spouse, is 66, and she gets 800. John takes his 2,000. Jane now can do one of two things. She can take all of her benefit or half of her husband's benefit. Of course, this is gender neutral. Could be John with 800, Jane with 2,000. But what happens is, what's higher? All of hers or half of his? Half of his. She gets a top up of $200. It's done automatically. Don't have to ask for it. It's done automatically. So that's how in real general terms, that's how a spouse will benefit. How about divorced spouse? Well, here's the triple play for a divorced spouse. And that's the lady I just worked at $200,000 yesterday. She was a divorced spouse. First of all, you got to be married for 10 years. Well, she was married for 13 years. Great. You have to be unmarried, currently unmarried. She's currently unmarried. The ex has to be 62. She's 65. Her ex is 66. They don't have to be claiming. They just have to be at least 62. If those three things line up, she can use her ex-spouse, or he can use his ex-spouse, just as if they're married, for spousal benefits, divorced, or for survivor benefit. Pretty cool. Pretty neat, yeah. So what happens is, he could be pulling from her. She doesn't have to know about it. She could be pulling from him. And when you're married, your spousal benefit or your survivor benefit, widow's benefit. Your ex-spouse could be dead. You can still collect off that survivor benefit. It's a really very, very generous benefit by the Social Security Administration. Most people do not take full advantage because they don't know what their options are. That's what we're there to give them. Now, I'm going to say this. I public speak all the time. Pretty good at it. You don't have to do it like Dave Pimper. You have to. You can't be scared the whole time in front of your hour presentation. My heart flutters around my first minute or two I talk, and then I get settled on in. There's nothing wrong with that. But what happens, this isn't for everyone. Some people can't get in front of a group. You know, you have to have $3,000-4,000 to market with, and you know what? That's like a used car. I always have said that. I mean, it's kind of a bad used car now, but it's still, you can buy a used car for $3,000-4,000. So it isn't for the faint of heart when it comes to money. There's no specific guarantee. But I will say this, marketing is kind of a creature of habit. The more you do it, the more consistent you do it. It's kind of the more I market, the luckier I get. And what happens is that $200,000 that comes in, she's going to be retiring within 2 years. She's going to have she has another $118,000 in her 401k. She asked me yesterday, what will we do with that when I retire? I said, well, let's take a look at it. I said, you know, because we put quite a bit into fixed index, I mean, we might do something that has a little more liquidity, but we'll look at it at that time. Yeah. There's and she'll have friends, and there'll be referrals I ask for. So it should be an ongoing source. Every new client should be an ongoing source of new business. Okay? Any questions? Certainly type them in. Survivor benefit when someone dies? Yeah, Joe, say they're both full retirement age, 66 in that hypothetical. Joe's $2,000, Julie's $1,200. Joe dies. Julie can jump up from her $1,200 and take his $2,000, or she can keep her $1,200. She has to tell the Social Security Administration, either online or in person, that she wants to do that. If she doesn't, the benefit doesn't jump. Social Security Administration would rather have you not, so it keeps the amount of money in the pot more. I talked to a gal, this is a true story, 7 years. 7 years. Her benefit was $1,200. Her husband's benefit was $1,800. There was a difference there of $600. Well, $600 a month, you're talking $7,000 or $7,000 a year. She had like 7 years. She had $50,000 that she left on the table because she never requested it after her husband died. She didn't know better. Oh man, I tell people when I'm out there in the workshop, well, don't let that happen to you. Know what your options are. If you come on in, you mark yes on that consultation form, I'm going to give you, if you take it early, if you wait as late as you can, and then what is your best benefit? Your best benefit not is always waiting as late as you can, because especially if you're married between husband and wife. Yeah, don't let something like that happen to you. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get across to them, is that you've got options, and options for the person normally means that they'll have a better understanding of what the best time to take is. Coordinating spousal benefits. So the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015 phased out file and suspend. Restricted application, which is used much more than file and suspend, even before file and suspend was around. So there's an 8-year phase out. Phases out on 1/1/2024. So if you're not age 62 by January 1 of 16, then you can't do file, like I can't. I was born in 55. You have to be born in 54, 1/1 of 54 or earlier. But if you were, and most of the people at this workshop, or quite a few of them, will, then you can do this. File and suspend is gone now. So let's go to restricted application. This gets complicated when we're coaching together. I got a whole article on restricted application that I wrote in easy terms, but you'll understand it. But here's the basics of it. Mike and Mary are 66. They're both, so let's say they're both PIA is $2,000 for Mike and $800 for Mary. They're married. They're 66 years of age, full retirement age. So Mary wants to go in and get some income coming in for the family now, so she applies for her $800. Okay? Well, Mike is still working, and he's saying, you know what, Mary? That $800 is nice, and you can spend that how you want, but I want mine to grow 8% in cost of living each year up to the age of 70. Now, it doesn't have to wait to 70. He can do it at 68 or 67, but let's say he's got the maximum is 4 years. As long as Mary has taken her benefit, you know what Mike can do? He can start his, if he's 66 or over, full retirement age or over, he can start his. So in the eyes of the Social Security Administration, it started. But then he stops the benefit. He's not going to take the benefit. Eyes of the Social Security Administration has started. He can now go out and take a spousal benefit. Mary's $800. What's the spousal benefit? It's always half. He gets $400. Free money. And lets his gain the 8% in COLAs every year up to the age of 70. Well, at $400, very few people take that because they don't know about this strategy. Social Security Administration can't give advice, so they're not going to tell you about this strategy. But Mike and Mary have come into Dave Pimper. That's what I say in the workshop. They've come into Dave Pimper. We sat down. I explained how it works. We find that free money for you if it's available. In this case, it was. $4,000 times 12 is $4,800 times 4 years from 66 to 70 is over $19,000. Free money. Money they never would have got otherwise. And then what happens is Mike turns his benefit on. So there goes that restricted application. The 400 is gone. But now you know what happens is Mary, her 800, at the age of full retirement age, at 66, remember, her 800 now is 200 less than half of Mike's 2,000. She gets an extra $200. So at 70, you do lose 400, but you gain back 200. It's a net 200 loss. Now I know that's a lot of moving parts in there, but when I'm going through it like that for my person at the workshop, they got just enough information that they kind of get it. They don't want to lose free money, so what is their intention? I better go talk to Dave Pimper. Mark yes on that evaluation at the end of the workshop. I'm telling you right now, it's a system that works. It's a system that has a track record, and Social Security is very good because it's a complicated subject. What can Social Security personnel do? They can estimate the best benefit right now, what you're entitled to. They cannot project future benefits scenario planning. Scenario planning is restricted application. You know, when you get this age, here's what you may be able to do with the survivor benefit. You know, they can't do that. They can't offer advice. In fact, in their POMS manual, number D, it says to them, taking the claim, provide enough information so the claimants can make informed choices, but do not give advice. Bizarre. I'm an investment advisor. My door says investment advisor. Dave, we need some information, insight on investment advising. Can you help us? Nope. I can do a lot of things, but what's on my door I can't do. That's like the Social Security Administration. Here's the 5 pillars of income. This is where we show how Social Security complements the other 4. But income-producing assets where we get all of their 401ks, their IRAs, their Roths, their CDs. If they have an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan, that means you can take money out at 59.5 and she still works. That's what happened to my client yesterday. We took $100,000 there. In fact, it's on its way. I called Fidelity. They're mailing the check out to her, made out to the custodian. Beautiful. Yeah, we go through all that in the coaching. Horse's mouth, that's what costs $512 for the year. And then if you renew it, it's $300 or $400. Yeah. What happens is that it has the calculator. They also have about 300 pages, and 200 of those are well worth to read. It has all the update on the 2015, the new Social Security Act. Yeah, has the PowerPoint. And my it says presented over 400. It's actually 460 plus now. I make a complicated subject much easier to understand. I know this is kind of complicated today, but I'll tell you what. When we're one-on-one, I do make it simpler for you, okay? There's no meal served here. That's not a big deal to me, but to a lot of people, it does save money. and certainly people aren't there for the meal. It's a turnkey system. And once you coach with me, you can, as long as you're working with IAMS, you can use Dave Pimper, okay, for any time in the future, and that's after coaching also. So I'll end on this. Since procrastination is my sin, it brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Tomorrow never comes, does it? If you heard something that you like, Steve Murray, co-owner of 31-Year-Old IAMS, is going to put up on the screen. It's going to go in and say if you'd like to go in and have a one-on-one phone consultation with me. It's certainly optional, but there's no pressure whatsoever. I mean, I coach 8 people a quarter, 32 people a year. That's how much I can do because I'm in full production. So if you want some seminar information around Social Security, just mark yes. But if you heard something, the reason I did that procrastination slide, and I do that in my workshops also, procrastination is it's a loss for people. People who procrastinate are not the most successful. If you heard something today that you like, or if you're kind of in a lull, or you want a new idea, or if you're doing seminars, Steve, we talk about our friend down south that had done a lot of Social Security seminars, and then Gene, and then he came on board with us, and it made a night and day difference
Yep.
of the amount of people, the amount of business that he was bringing. He went from maybe $1 million to like $4 million within a year's time period. And that might be the exception, but if you're doing 500,000, you'd like to get that up to $1 million. If you're doing 3 million, you want to get to 4.5. I tell you what, adding new appointments to your schedule has to be a good thing, and that's what seminar marketing can do, specifically around Social Security. So, Steve, I'm going to go in. I'm going to throw this off to you. Hope you mark yes. I'd love to talk with you, discuss, and see if this could be something that could help you bring in more potential prospects.
Thank you, Dave. As always, great presentation. We've got a few questions that have arisen. Do you have a few minutes yet?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. So you went over some of the basic numbers regarding Social Security claiming seminars. And you mentioned a little bit about some recent appointments you've had from some of your Social Security numbers. Can you give us a feel besides, I know sometimes people tend to exaggerate because we want to get interest and drive people to Social Security, and you've been really good about not doing that. Can you give us a real realistic view of what people can expect when they embark on doing Social Security claiming seminars?
Right. Let me first say that the numbers that I told you about, Ed, that was up in the Northeast, and that was outstanding. We don't see those very often. I've had before over 20 appointments, from a seminar mailing, but normally our goal is this. We're trying to get, give or take, we're trying to get 40 people there. That's what we're trying to do between 2 nights. It isn't 20, might be 25, 15. But if we can get 35, 40 people, we're going to have in the neighborhood of 25 buying units, husband and wife being a buying unit, a single being a buying unit. 25. Now, they're not there for the meal. They're not there just for the fun of it. They're there to learn about Social Security. So of those 25, we hope that we get half of those to sign up for an appointment. That's 12 or 13. That's our average, 12 or 13. Okay? Our goal is to get at least 10. If you get 10 people, you're going to go in, and if half of those people go into second appointments with found money, and of those, you would certainly think that you could go on in and write business with half of those. So I would say the goal is to do 1 to 3 pieces of business from a mailing, and to average $250,000 to $350,000 worth of money that you're working with. So that's the goal. That's my goal when I do a seminar.
Good. Couple questions that are more specific to some of the Social Security planning tips that you talked about. So I'm going to send you those because my guess is that those folks will probably set a telephone appointment with you. Obviously, have some real interest, so that you could address those. So that would be good. I want to mention just a couple of things about having somebody working with you directly around seminars, and specifically Social Security seminars. So our experience with Social Security seminars has been so good for a couple of reasons. And one of them I think, is that Social Security seminars, because they are more where you're conveying information as opposed to kind of having a showmanship type of approach that sometimes you have with seminars. I think that we've seen a much larger group of people be successful with Social Security claiming seminars. And I think a lot of that is because you can warm up to the idea of being in front of people. So if you're looking for a way, if you think seminars is something that you want to do to grow your business, I don't think there's a better approach than Social Security claiming seminars, because it's still going to get you in front of talking to just the right people about just the right thing, which is their retirement income. And if you've got some good assistance along the way, I think that's key. So we don't offer seminars of any kind anymore without a coach that works with you directly. Call it coach, mentor, assistant, or whatever you want to. But the folks that work with us, and Dave's team included, if you're going to work with them on a seminar, they're going to walk you through every phase. Dave's team actually sets up the mailings for you, helps you with the right venue, gives you all the information that you need along the way, including the seminar itself, helps you with to maximize your closing appointments. There's no doubt that as you do Social Security claiming seminars or seminars in general, you're going to get better as you go. You're going to have a better presentation. You're going to get better appointments. You're going to do better closings. The idea with working directly with a mentor or a coach like Dave is to start off on as high a plane as you can so that you can get the best success that you possibly can right out of the gate. Because a lot of people that do seminars, after they do their first couple, that's when they tend to fall out, because you're spending money. It's still going to be your worst seminar. And so, do you get your money back? Are you unhappy with the results? So we want to make sure that you're happy with those results. And part of that is making sure that you don't have any of the little mistakes along the way that can be made. Yes, sir.
Hey, Steve, I'm sorry to interrupt. But this is interesting. So, you know how you use the word mentor, and there is some mentoring in here. But you know what's interesting is almost all FMOs, the good ones will have a mentoring program. Okay? So why don't we call this Social Security mentoring? We just call it Social Security coaching. Why don't they call it, hey, well, you know what? Let's say that it's Nick Saban from Alabama. They don't go in and say Nick Saban, the college football mentor, do they? He's a college football coach. There's a big difference between coaching and mentoring. Is I'm going to do the workshop. You just watch me. You just follow what I do, and I'm mentoring. And he might give some ideas here and there. Coaches day to day. Coaches taking something and elevating it, hour by hour, day by day, week by week. And coaching is much more hands-on than mentoring. There's a lot of FMO mentoring programs, but how many FMO coaching programs are there with seminar marketing? Someone who's done over 450 seminars, I think there's one. I mean, I really do. I think there's us. And what happens is that my whole goal when I work with a coaching client on seminar marketing is to get more production. I need them to be successful. I'm trying to bring on people who are willing to work to be successful. And if you are, you know what? Then you've found a good webinar. I'd love to talk with you. Love to give you the insights one-on-one instead of a group setting like this. So Mark, yes, we'll certainly talk for that 25, 30 minutes, but I'd love to give you and kind of give you some insight of maybe what this could do specifically for your personal practice.
Great. There is no doubt there's differences between a coach and a mentor, and this is really a program designed for folks that want to learn and then take it on and do it themselves. This is not a you're connected to somebody for the rest of your life. This is here's how it works. Here's what we do. Help you through the process, and here you go. And so it's a great program. Dave is a great coach. Has done some great provable work with many of our producers over the years. So we've run over, obviously, and I don't want to keep you all on because you've been very kind to give us the amount of time that you have already. We appreciate that very much. I'm going to close that poll out. Again, those of you that weren't able to vote, simply let me know if you have interest by dialing me here at the office, 800-255-5055. I'll be very happy to put you directly in touch with Dave. So thank you again for joining us, Dave. Thank you for your time today. I know you've got a lot of appointments you're working on, so I appreciate you taking some time out. Thank you all for joining us. And as always here at IAMS, whatever we can do to help you grow your business, that's what we're all about here. Give us a call. We'll be answering your phone in about 1.5 rings. So we appreciate your business, appreciate your time. Have a great finish to your sales week.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.